In this episode of We Do a Little, we're joined by Tarun Chitra. Tarun is the founder of Gauntlet Network, Robot Ventures, and one of the founding members of Pleasered. He's a gigabrain, to say the least. We go deep on Tarun's first job, dick density in the New York City area, pizza murders, royalties and potential different mechanisms we'd like to see, and so much more. As always, this podcast is for entertainment purposes only and should not be relied upon for investment decisions. Andy, Deez, and guests may own NFTs discussed in this podcast.
This is Andy.
Yeah, I'm Deez.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of We Do a Little. We're here with Tarun, who is a all-around big brain on Twitter. He makes me feel bad a lot on that app. Posts a lot of interesting things about math and fractals and random. Like, I never actually know. I'm already going off on a tangent. I never know when your like quote tweets about like some like image and you like are explaining math related to it are real or not. But I'm too afraid to ask, and so you do that a lot. He's one of the founders of Gauntlet. He's on a lot of other podcasts and talks about things. I think I've seen his face on TV before, but really excited to have him. Thanks for being here.
Hey, thanks for having me. Excited to be here. I think this is the first time I've gone on a non-crypto podcast versus like, I do this other podcast with Leshner and Haseeb and stuff, and it's like very like crypto news.
Yeah, we're trying to be as far away from that as possible.
Yeah. We want someone to be able to hear this like 5 years from now and take away almost everything they could take away if they hear this like next month.
Yeah. And for the record, those images are usually a real thing that like you have to like look at it the right angle to like see it. And the thing is, I'm kept honest on Twitter because I have a bunch of friends who are either math professors or like postdocs, and they definitely call me out.
Okay.
They're like, that's a bit of a fucking stretch, guy. Like, I'm like, all right, well.
Yeah,
it's
built different when your reply guys are math professors.
I read your tweets and I'm like, I understood 10% of that, maybe.
I
understood the articles and it's like, all right.
That's good. I wonder what percent of tweets are articles. Is it 10%?
I don't know. My favorite is when Sobi will reply to like your tweets and be like, I was thinking the exact same thing.
But then he has the chain of like the little like Sobi army that's just like always ready to like be like, I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
But don't worry. I too have I too am intimidated by some people. Like my first boss at my first job just won this like weird Nobel Prize like thing today. And I'm like, damn, never.
Oh, like literally today?
Yeah, like, literally today. So there's this like new Nobel Prize, like basically a bunch of like tech billionaires want to make this kind of like new Nobel Prize that has like, doesn't have as many restrictions on it. Like the Nobel Prize, the way it's like selected is kind of, there's like 5 random people who get elected by the Swedish Royal Society, and they have to meet all these constraints, and like so there's a lot of people who probably are like prizeworthy who can't get it. Same thing for like the highest honor in math, which is the Fields Medal, where it's like for some fucking reason, this guy was like, "Yo, you can't actually win this award if you're over 40." It's like what the so
no
like,
old people allowed.
Exactly. So this new thing is called the Breakthrough Prize. It's founded by Sergey Brin, Mark Zuckerberg, Yuri Milner, and someone else, I forget who. Is like supposed to be like trying to rectify like all these like 1900s prizes and whatever. So anyway, my boss won that, and I was like, damn. Well, I never gonna quite be able to keep up with him.
So what was your first job?
Good question.
So yeah, actually, I used to work like 6 or 7 blocks from where we were recording. Unfortunately, because I hate Midtown. But like. So I worked at this company, which was with this billionaire who he was, long story short, is he was a professor at Columbia. He didn't get tenure in the 80s, and he made this hedge fund, became a billionaire, and then he spent his whole fortune on doing like drug discovery research, like computational drug discovery research. And so he had this sort of thing where we were building ASICs and custom hardware for doing like physics simulations of proteins with the idea of like trying to discover new drugs faster than doing the live experiments. Like if you could get the simulation accurate enough, then you could like simulate way more drug protein interactions, and you could say like, okay, you know, we had the set of 10,000 compounds. We figured out like these 3 are probably the ones that work, and it only took us like 10 minutes versus like years of experiments. And so that's like that was like the dream. So yeah, I worked at that place, and it was cool. So it was like you know, a lot of people kind of in the middle of like biology and computational stuff. So like a lot of the people from there went to DeepMind and built AlphaFold, which is like sort of what won the prize today.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry for making you come to Midtown too.
Oh no, I don't mind. I mean, like now it's like a novelty. It's like, I'm going on a vacation to Midtown. You know, it's like the way that when I first moved to New York, I remember there were all these people I knew who were like, oh yes, I'm gonna take a day trip to Brooklyn, as if it's like fucking far, like far out land in the middle of nowhere. Like, go fuck yourself.
Well, yeah, I was saying to someone the other day when I left the podcast studio, I was like, I have no idea where the fuck I am. Like, I know every other part of New York so much better than I know Midtown because I just avoid this area like the plague.
The one thing I will say about this area that's worth going to is there's a place 2 avenues east of here and 1 block south called Culture Coffee. But it's like this coffee shop that makes these like freshly baked chocolate chip cookies every hour, and they are
at the top of the hour. Like I walk in,
forget
12:01,
exactly when it
like,
is. Yeah, there's like some time frame, and like there's always a line for these, or it used to always. I haven't been here in a while, but I know it's still open because I walked by and I saw a bunch of people in it, and that was always the place of solace in this like tourist trap shithole.
All right, well, it's good to know. Maybe we have to go there tomorrow or something after the pod.
If you want cookies, definitely get their cookies.
Yeah, it's good to know. How long have you lived in New York for?
I moved in 2011, so 11 years.
Shit, it's a long time.
Where were you before New York?
Upstate New York, in Ithaca, New York.
And did you grow up there?
No, I went to college there, and then I was going to do a PhD, and then I got this job, and then I was like, I'll defer my PhD, and then never went back.
Did you go to Ithaca?
I went to Cornell.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I was like, okay, maybe I'll do my PhD. I got into a bunch of places, and I just like, I was doing theoretical physics, and I was like, I don't want to fucking be a monk. Because like, honestly, theoretical physics is just straight up and mental masturbation, right? Like you're like doing this thing. There's like 5 people who fucking care about your particular subfield. What are you really teaching? Well, you're really just teaching the next 6 people who are going to be the only ones who can read your fucking paper. And there's just like a lot of like circle jerk academia stuff in that. And like, look, I totally respect people who can make it because it's a very cutthroat, like hard field to cut it in. But it's also just like, what do you get at the end of the day? Like, you're just like sucking your own dick all day. I like, at least it like, that's kind of maybe bluntly.
It's like the Bored Ape Yoga Club NFTs.
Your theoretical physics paper is the Bored Ape Yoga Club.
Well, it's like there always used to be those memes about algorithmic stablecoins that
the roller coasters.
I mean, the moment I saw that one, I was like, oh, well, that does describe a lot of academia. But, you know, comparing algorithmic stablecoins to academia might be a little bit of a stretch.
Yeah, that's fair. So have you, like, do you want to stay in New York for the long term, or do you think you have like a shelf life of being in the city?
I love New York, but the pandemic made me go live other places for winter, and then I was like, wait a minute. Wait, you can fucking leave?
Yeah.
I was like,
you can get out?
You can. Yeah, it was like some there. Okay, so I feel like when I moved to New York, there was like the rat race trap of like, oh yeah, I got to like stay here because like I have all these friends and like I got to like keep meeting new people, whatever, like socially speaking. And then I like used to run a lot of meetups and like had a lot of like events, and those things were like kind of sticky, so I kind of was like always here and never really traveling. And then, pandemic happened. I was like, wait, maybe I'll go live somewhere warmer in winter. Like, why the fuck would I stay in New York? Because New York during the pandemic winter was like,
it was tough.
It was just like, you're just like sitting inside all day. Like, fuck that shit.
It's fucking cold.
Yeah, because like New York in the winter, like, I remember I was in the Upper East Side during like the summer of 2020, and it was honestly a fucking blast. Like, not to make light of COVID, there was a lot of bad stuff going on, but like the cops, it was the first time that people could like drink outside, really.
Yes.
And it was basically like this massive street party, and the cops didn't care that you had like a 32-ounce margarita and you were like sipping it walking down the road, and like it was really fun. And then all of a sudden it got cold and you were like, oh, well, this sucks.
Yeah, exactly.
These outdoor restaurants can't. It's too fucking cold.
Yeah.
The heater isn't doing it.
Yeah. The thing I think though about that summer that was amazing, God, I wish I fucking, like, I'm just not a GoPro person, but I remember just like biking around the city, and like it was like a zombie apocalypse movie, but real. Like, I remember biking through Times Square at like 10 p.m. on like a Friday, and the only people there were some like this homeless dude and this like 15-year-old sharing a joint, which was like a very funny like thing to see. Is like the only two people in Times Square. Like, all the lights were lit up. And like I actually think like all the people who like bounced that summer missed out on that. But leaving for winter was great ideas. The moment I went to Texas that year. Honestly, the moment I got to Austin, I was like, oh, so people just don't give a fuck because they're outside all the time here. And it was awesome. And then after that, I was like, wait a minute. You don't need to live in New York in winter. What about you guys?
No, I feel your pain there. So like last winter, we went to Art Basel, and we were only going to be there for like 5 days. And I ended up staying like 15 or 16 days because I would look at my Ring doorbell cam at home in Ohio. It was shitty. It was like cold, dead, snow. And I'm on the beach at 4 a.m. and the water's 75 degrees. Like, it's everything I could want. So it's extending my trip. And it was like, this year, it's like, okay, what do we do in winter? Like, maybe we're going to go back to Art Basel for a week, but like, maybe we do something else.
My thing I will shill is Mexico City, which is like, you know, the way I describe it is I think there's only really two actual cosmopolitan cities in the Americas in my mind. It's New York and Mexico City. Everywhere else is like, you know, LA.
It's not really even a city.
It's like
wide.
It's a coalition of suburbs that happens to have a couple tall buildings. The Bay Area is like decentralized horribleness. Because like there's like nothing good. Like, it's like you separated all these parts of a city over this like huge region, and like it's a pain in the ass to go between them, and it's really expensive. Like, I don't know why anyone wants to live there. And then, you know, like maybe Toronto counts, but like it's fucking cold.
You're gonna go from New York to Toronto for the winter. No, that sounds
no,
exactly. And then Buenos Aires is cool, but it's not like cosmopolitan. Like, if you want to go, like, say you have your favorite musician. And you just go through, take your favorite musician, your favorite comedian, your favorite, like, I don't know, Broadway play or like something like that.
Some performing art.
Take 3 things like that and go to each fucking city and see how frequently you could actually see those people. And I guarantee you'll come back and be like, okay, I guess it is really just like New York and Mexico City. Because these other cities don't quite have like super large breadth, I feel like, and you know, that's what I love about New York. Now, Europe could be fine, but honestly, I mean, it is nice to go there on vacation now.
Yeah,
everything's cheap.
We just got back from Croatia. It was wonderful.
Yeah, it was great.
Actually, did you guys have this? Where did I think I had this in Serbia, but like one of my favorite random ass places in New York, was this like riverside bar called Annabelle's Basin in Long Island City. And it's like these Serbians who are like, it's like half like Serbian frat boys, like who are too drunk. And then like half like kind of like meek yuppies who look like the way I've described it is like, imagine in your head what you think a UX designer would look like. And that's like 50% of like Long Island City. So it's like, you got the UX designers, you got the drunk Serbians. But the greatest thing about this place is they serve this pastry bread, like corn dog is the wrong word. It's a bit better pigs in a blanket. It's like with this like weird pastry.
Better dough
called cevapi. So did you guys have any like crazy food like that in Croatia?
We did not have cevapi for sure. I feel like Croatia was pretty standard like Mediterranean food in the European sense of Mediterranean food, not the American sense, of just like seafood, really good fish. I feel like a lot of places there had steaks that were fine. I feel like that's one thing where like America does steaks better for the most part. No, we didn't have anything that was too crazy, honestly.
The
I
fucking
feel like
gelato.
the gelato there was really good.
Dude,
There
I
was,
could
like, one
have
gelato
gained 30
place.
pounds off this gelato. We were going there like 2-3 times a day.
What was sort of, when I think of Croatia, I just think of like British college spring break. But what's it like in September? Because it's not like,
So it's right at the end of their vacation season. So it was still very nice out. I'd say like the last day, you could like literally feel the seasons changing for the
feel
week we were
fall
there.
was coming. Like,
yeah, like the last day it was cold.
fall is coming.
Yeah,
like,
like,
the way you
literally,
guys
like,
said it was like
the hotel workers are telling us like, oh yeah, like this is our last week. We're going back to school. Like our school starts, and like you could just feel like not only from the vibe of the people, but just from like the wind, the overcastness that it was getting toward.
Yeah, Eastern Europe's a funny place like that. So I used to spend a lot of time going to Romania to music festivals, and in Romania, I remember like they have the same music festival in spring and in summer, and then they have one other music festival in like Halloween because it's like Transylvania, so they're trying to like this in like a castle, and it's like this like crazy thing.
That's cool.
Wait, what type of concert? What type of music?
Minimal techno. So like
Okay.
Eastern European minimal techno is like kind of some weird set of genres I listen to. But I guess I guess not now, but I used to go to like Ukraine, Romania. I once went to Moldova, but I highly do not recommend going to that fucking country.
Why?
It is like 100% like gangster mafia. Like your impression of like if someone was like Soviet gangster from the 1980s. If I go to Dolly and I type that, like that's like Moldova.
It's like
All right,
not the
good to know.
vibe.
Yeah.
And no, I went with my friend who's Moldovan, and she was like, it was fine because I went with her, but I'm like, oh wait, so all your family members are like in the mafia? Like, what? And she's like, no, that's the whole country.
That's the government.
My family.
Not just my. I'm like, okay. It was like very like exactly like like the big guy at the door who's like, give me $20, like like, and you're like, whoa. So yeah. Anyway, the funny thing is like I remember going to the October music festival, which was called Eurythmic, and in the castle, and like everyone is suddenly a huge dick. Like in spring and summer, everyone's super nice and like super chill, and then like everyone in fall, it's like a cultural thing to like change your attitude with the season. And like maybe that's true here too, but I don't feel like it's as sharp.
Yeah. Well, I feel like especially in New York, everyone's just kind of a dick all the time, and so
Yeah. I mean, in New York, instead of it being time based, it's like neighborhood based.
yeah, definitely.
Of like what the dick concentration is.
Yeah.
But it has the highest dick concentration in New York.
Meatpacking, probably. Right?
Yeah,
It's like up
probably.
there. Meatpacking
I mean, it's a
is up there.
very good
Meatpacking is
name
up
for
there.
a high
Yeah,
concentration.
I think it also probably depends on.
Like, very aptly named.
I feel like it probably also depends on like what kind of person pisses you off the most. Where it's like there's definitely a certain subset of people where they're just really over like the college frat bro, and so then it's like Alphabet City, Lower East Side. It's just like that group of people really.
Okay, let's be a little more quantifiable with this. Okay, let's take where do you think has the minimum dick density, the median dick density, and the maximum dick density?
Okay. And I assume we're doing all boroughs,
all boroughs, anywhere you want.
All right. Well, so like if we're actually doing all boroughs, I would think that minimum would be like probably somewhere out in like Queens or something, like Forest Hills or
I
something.
would not agree with that for one reason.
Okay.
Which is the further out you go in New York, especially in Brooklyn and Queens, the more like racially segregated neighborhoods are, where they're like one particular culture, and like if you're not from there, they're like look at you weird on the street, and you're like, yo, and especially if they talk to you, they have that like kind of. Hey man, like I can't do a fucking Brooklyn accent, but like like they have like the like very old school like what are you doing here?
Yeah,
like, type of thing.
No, that's a good point.
But I don't know how much that factors into the dick density.
Yeah, I think it definitely doesn't help. This is hard. What do you think?
I feel so not like I've been to New York for maybe a combined 2 months of my entire life. Like I'm so not.
I feel like I put the minimum as like Prospect Heights or something because it's like NPR territory. It's like everyone's carrying like an NPR bag or like a Reformation bag or like something like that.
I was gonna say like Cobble Hill or something.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's in the same. Yeah, like that.
They probably have like a 2-year-old They just don't care about what you're doing anymore. They're like really concerned about their plastic usage.
But it's funny that like the
Composting.
moment you get to like Barclays Center, it's like suddenly everyone's a dick again. So there's like this like very sharp boundary between like.
Oh yeah, it is a stark contrast. Like once you get within probably like 5 blocks of Barclays Center, total shit show.
That's the
Anything
crazy
goes.
thing to me about New York is how drastically the vibe can change in literally a block.
It's true, although I would say Chicago has much more drastic changes, and not for the better.
No, this is where I'm an uncultured Midwesterner. I've never been to Chicago.
Never been to Chicago.
No, so like
I haven't either actually.
backstory for me is 29 now, and I spent most of my life in Ohio. Like I grew up in Northeast Ohio, went to Ohio State,
Northeast is like
Cleveland.
a long time ago. I made the poor decision of dating someone long distance, and I had to drive.
Wait, you dated someone from Youngstown?
No, someone from like Michigan.
Oh,
And
okay.
so I drove from like Philly, like around where my parents live, to Michigan. And I remember being like, oh my God, this is why fucking people make fun of the Midwest. You're just driving on the fucking highway
It's just flat.
and it's just fertilizer. You just like the smell of fertilizer.
Yeah.
Like,
We got crops to grow, dude. We don't have people to build buildings for, so we may as well get some crops down, get some soybeans, some corn.
I mean, look, it's
We got Coca-Cola to make.
we all need it, but man, driving through that fertilizer smell, like you probably just don't even notice
Yeah,
it
you
because
wake
you
up.
grew up.
It's
Yeah.
nice. It's like smelling coffee. I mean, it's no different than walking down New York and seeing a trash heap of 37 fucking piles of trash
Or
bags,
the-
and it smells like piss
Yes,
and
yes.
rotten
Yeah.
food. Like, I'd
I
rather
don't even-
smell cow and chicken shit.
It's true. Everyone has to smell some shit. In them.
Like, you're-
And it's just like, which shitty things do you have
You
to
know,
smell?
you know what city smelled really bad was Barcelona. I was there
Really?
for the month of August, and I was in Madrid the month prior, and Barcelona smelled like shit. And so we were like, it was a bit of a unique situation. So we were staying in an area that had like a festival for the first like week we were there, and it was a fucking insane festival. It was like a street competition where each street would decorate their street in like a theme, and they were like really, really intense, like 20-foot high statues and shit that they like built out of paper mache. And just like every night the streets were just packed with people until like 2 or 3 in the morning, and everyone was just like pissing everywhere.
Well, that makes
and-
sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then but I mean, it definitely lingered, and a lot of it, depending on where you were in Barcelona.
What
I felt
neighborhood
like
were you in?
we were in Gracia,
Okay, cool.
but I feel like it smelled pretty bad for most of the time that we were
I
there.
feel like the place I remember in Barcelona was bad was like Ramblas.
Yeah.
Because like it's all these like narrow ass streets and like
Yeah, that's where everyone goes out too.
yeah.
And there were a lot of fun bars there, but it definitely also didn't feel as safe as some of the other areas.
Yeah. I don't know. I lived in Barcelona for like a month and a half, like kind of similar
Mhm.
time to you, but in October in 2015. And I honestly would say it's like it's a city with a good quality of life, but like I feel like they really hate foreigners there.
So it's funny that you would say that, because I did like the month in Madrid and then a month in Barcelona, and Barcelona felt much more foreigner friendly than Madrid did.
Yeah.
Where in Madrid, I think part of it was just like the whole English thing, because like I'm all right, thank you. In Madrid, they'd be like, "Oh, you need the English menu," and it was like very condescending, and like they weren't happy that they had to speak English to you. Whereas in Barcelona, that wasn't really a big part of it. And so that was like, to me, the major like easy barometer of, oh, they think we're annoying or not. Is just like, clearly they are not happy that we do not speak Spanish well.
I did like that about Split. Like, there was, for the most part, English everywhere.
Yeah.
Like, I felt very comfortable, even though like I didn't speak the parent language.
Yeah. All of these places are still kind of like not as much of a foreigner hater place as Paris, though.
Yeah.
Paris
is the
has to
worst.
be like the king of like
That's the biggest dick
density.
Dick density.
highest dick density in the world.
Yeah, I do think I have my answer for New York for all three.
Okay.
So I'm gonna stick with lowest being Cobble Hill. I feel good about that answer.
Yep.
And then for highest, I'm gonna agree like meatpacking, maybe even like kind of merge that with like Soho area. Just like generally, I feel like people think very highly of themselves there, and it's also like a set of tourists in that area who can be really fucking annoying. And then for middle, I'm gonna say the Upper East Side, where you have like some amount of people who are really new to the city and they haven't been like broken in yet. And so they're like, nice, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, excited to be there. And then some people who have like lived in the Upper East Side for a really long time and just really don't want to don't want to deal with you. I feel like it's a good ratio of different types of people to where it's a nice medium density.
Where would you put Williamsburg on this? Because this is where I've spent most of my time. So like everything that you say, I'm like comparing to my time in Williamsburg.
I'd say Williamsburg is relatively medium. It's like probably a little bit snobbier. I don't know.
I think the lower end of medium.
Yeah.
Like I like 40th percentile.
Okay.
Something like that. I don't think it's
The closer you get to the water, the worse it gets. Like,
true.
So
like
when
if
you're like
on
on Kent,
yeah, when you're on 9th and Kent.
Any of those people who like fucking push you to go to Domino Park.
Oh yeah.
That's like, that's when you know you're in high density.
My ultimate bar that I hate in all of New York is Berry Park.
Oh yeah.
I had like the worst experience of my life at that bar.
But it's not even on the water.
No, but it's right by like, it's right by McCarran Park and close-ish to the water.
Vale.
And
William Vale's also up there on the dick density.
so I stay at the William Vale all
it's
the
a
time.
really nice hotel.
So I'm trying to bring the dick density down a little bit. But like the Westlight at the William Vale is like big dick density. I feel like.
Oh yeah.
No.
Okay, for me, I think the minimum dick density is probably, Prospect Heights. I think the median, probably, Williamsburg. Maybe not Williamsburg, maybe like Greenpoint.
Yeah.
People are a little more standoffish in Greenpoint, just a little bit.
Yeah.
And then the worst, I actually am going to go to the Bronx and say like Arthur Avenue, like this Italian neighborhood with like really good Italian food. Everyone there fucking hates you for coming, but they're like, eat my fucking pasta, pay me, and get the fuck out. Like
that's a good one.
They just like have this there's this restaurant and my friends that like I walked by a bunch. That's this like Italian pizza place. And my friends were like, who just moved back to New York because they like left for the pandemic and came back. And they were just like, yeah, so like we went to our favorite pizza place and we got harassed and berated, but we still love it so much that we're going back today. And I was like, okay, why don't you unpack that a little bit for me? And so this pizza place called Lucali.
Oh yeah.
You've been there?
Yeah.
It has like, I guess the one in like Carroll Gardens has like 15 seats. There's a line that like basically you have to wait in, no reservations. When they talk to you, they're just like, no substitutions, can't do anything. You order four fucking items on the menu, and like they don't talk to you. But the more hilarious thing is like when you wait in line, it's like in this like relatively like people with strollers neighborhood, and there'll be like some fucking old woman out of her window being, get off my sidewalk. like, and like yelling at the people in the line. And it's like, cause the line goes like 2 blocks.
There was a period of time where Lucali was considered like the best pizza in New York. I've heard that it's fallen off.
But Google reviews seems to have like shown that like recently it's just like straight up down.
I think that they had some changes to the kitchen of people who were even like working there and cooking. I remember I had a Uber driver like a while ago at this point, but I love a good New York Uber driver who like has a lot of stories and you have no idea how many of them are true. So like take this with a grain of salt because it could totally have all been a lie. But he was saying that he didn't work at Lucali's, but he worked at another one of like the really big ones. And that he like knew all those guys, and he was talking about how that like a lot of the ones that got really famous like now are all shit, and like the best pizza places are like way out further that no one knows about. And he was going on and on about how a lot of like really popular ones like Roberta's and Lucali's and all those have just like, once they got a ton of really good reviews online, have like really downgraded in quality and stuff because they could.
Yeah, actually, this reminds me of this random thing I remember watching on the internet, which is the pizza murders of Brooklyn 2015 or 16. So
I'm not familiar with this.
Pizza murders?
Yes. So there is this place in not Bensonhurst. It's in Brooklyn, like really far south, like basically at the water. Let's just say something like Bensonhurst, but it's called L&B Spumoni.
I've heard this place is insanely good.
And the weird thing about their pizza is they put the cheese on the bottom and then the sauce on top. But L&B Spumoni is also very notoriously the LMB Spumoni owner was like gunned down in 2016. And it turned out like the story is the following. So like in that neighborhood, there's a lot of like mafia rackets. It's still going on. I was like, it's the 2010s. How the fuck does this still go on? But apparently a lot of the restaurants get like protection from the mafia in these neighborhoods. And I guess like what happened was like one of the employees at LNB was like in the mafia, I guess. And he was like, I'm going to like go make my own competitor in Staten Island. And then like the LNB people got pissed. And so then their mafia like protectorate, the Brooklyn one, like apparently like vandalized that guy's restaurant or like did something to like try to like threaten him. This is how the pizza secrets are kept. So that's why I brought it up when you're talking about this guy being like, oh, like there's some secrets. And then I guess like the Staten Island mafia was like, fuck you, we're going to kill you. And they killed him.
That's fucking crazy.
Life comes at you quick.
Yeah.
Like I was like, wait, I was like, this is 1970s, 1980s.
2015.
And
Well,
I was like, what the
One minute you have a small pizza competitor pop up, and the next minute you're dead. That's just how it goes in New York.
That's
What
like an
can I say?
episode of Sopranos.
Yeah, I was
you're just
thinking the
getting
same
like
thing.
cut up in the bathroom.
There's a really good like Vice like documentary type thing, like going through like the whole timeline of this. It's crazy. But LMB is opening a new one in Dumbo. Like,
Oh,
they're-
really?
Yeah, they're starting to.
I've only
expand.
ever heard amazing things. It's just so far away that I've never made the trip.
Now
out.
it'll be
Yeah.
closer. But yeah, so pizza is one way. Well, actually, question: if there were a similar thing in crypto,
Okay, like
where
a
like
murder,
a mafia hit would happen, where would
Okay.
it happen?
like in the world, or like on what blockchain, or
Like what? I don't want to put a hit out on anybody here. Like I'm not saying.
I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying
Dubai.
like Dubai, yeah, for sure. It's somewhere in Dubai. But like my question, I get. Well, so first of all, did you ever hear about this like OneCoin thing? I
Like
never.
the eye scan?
No,
not
that's a
WorldCoin.
Oh, shit.
It's called OneCoin. This woman who founded it just like got placed on the U.S. top 10
yes.
most wanted
So
list.
that was how I heard about it, but I have no idea what the fuck it is.
I never fucking heard about this shit, and I'm like, how the fuck was there a scam bigger than BitConnect in 2017?
Yeah.
It apparently ensnared a lot of European people. But that thing is like real rife with like, I could totally see some murders coming out of that. Like,
Well, I feel like there's a lot of that. I mean, the amount of money that's been stolen in like exploits and stuff even is enough money that people could 100% get killed over it.
yeah, I promise you fucking LMB Spumoni isn't making like 100 million.
Yeah, they're killing people over a
Exploiting
lot
Badger
less.
for, you know it.
Which is kind of crazy to think about. Don't teach these people about internet money.
Yeah, no, they don't need to.
They don't need to. Keep taking
Yeah.
cash only.
That does make me think though. I feel like Mafia Chain could do really well.
Mafia Chain is made to host the game Mafia, and that's its utility. That's like the coin's utility as a cover for the
Yeah.
real Mafia.
Could that be like an Arbitrum Nova chain? Like we just have like Mafia
We'll hit up
chain.
Size Chat and we'll see what we can do.
I feel like it reminds me that I used to play this game like Mafia Wars on Facebook when I was
Oh
like,
yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah,
just
that
the
game was
natural-
fun.
That game was what made Zynga like blow up and do really well. But then I think they kind of
Yeah, they fucked it up.
Facebook rugged them,
Yeah,
and then after that, I don't know.
When I think like Mafia and crypto, I think like Quadriga.
yeah.
I don't know why. Like,
Did you guys watch the documentary on Netflix about that?
No shit.
It was
everyone
good.
said it was good. Yeah.
Yeah, I liked it. I don't really know what to think because, like, I don't think the money's moved right since the guy died.
Yeah.
And so it's like, at what point, after a certain amount of time, if the money's never moving,
At some point, he's Satoshi.
yeah,
That's just
The money's
rules.
never moved.
Well, and didn't you like know the Bitfinex or what was it? The
Oh, okay, yeah. So this Bitfinex hack, I guess this person I knew and her husband apparently, because like the feds set her free.
Oh, really? I mean, you watched her TikTok content. She was not a mastermind of anything.
Oh, we're talking about. I know who we're talking about now.
Rabbit
Now
content.
we brought up the TikTok content.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess her husband was like doing the money laundering for this guy. He was sort of like, as far as I can tell from the allegations, he seems sort of like smart enough to figure out how to have moved the keys around, but like dumb enough that he was really clearly a mule for the person who actually did the hack. Because like
Okay.
he was not accused of doing the hack.
Okay.
He was only accused of money laundering. So like I think the person who did the hack realized like, oh shit, I can't get out of this much Bitcoin easily. And so then he started trying to like find people to like be mules to convert to fiat for him. And I think that's probably what
Did they catch the person as well who no, they haven't.
that person's probably like chilling in Dubai.
Yeah.
Because that's
That's
like
why
that's
the
like
murders are happening in
that's
Dubai.
They're deep in South America or Dubai or something.
I mean, I feel like someone should make like an NFT TV show of like murders in Dubai, and then just like it's like kind of like Emily's choose your own adventure thing. Like people vote on it, and then
A little
like
Shibuya.
and then like when the
Shibuya, but murders in Dubai.
but like when like the side that people vote, like let's say like when like the mafia people who own a bunch of the coin or like their side doesn't win, they like actually go and like IRL like execute the real stuff. That's dark. Sorry.
It sounds bullish. I feel like the project would mint out. I don't know.
Very.
Are things minting? I don't pay attention to NFTs like at all. Sorry, but are things actually minting out still?
Yeah, I mean, just recently, there's like no-brainer things that mint out. Like recently, Matt Fury dropped a 1,000-piece collectible set for like 0.66 ETH a piece, and they just minted out like that. And now they're selling at like 1.8 after they revealed. But they're few and far between, and there's not nearly as many as like last summer where it was like, oh, I paid someone on $500 or $200, they gave me 10,000 generated pictures, and now I just sold it for $2 million in 5 minutes. Like,
Yeah, those don't work anymore.
Yeah.
You
So
have
it's-
to at least have some.
you have to have like credibility.
I have some friends who like quit their full-time jobs because they did one of those and it worked. And I do wonder whether they're going to have like lottery winner syndrome and
Yeah.
like be unable to get themselves to work again, but they're going to run out of money at some point.
Yeah, it's not sustainable. It's one of those things where like we clearly didn't do anything like that. It's like I'm not going to cash in on my reputation. That seems pretty fucking short-sighted in this market.
Do you think free to earn is a real thing?
Like free to earn in the sense of like Digi Daigeku. I mean, you have to have the alpha to get it for free, and that alpha generally comes from that team in a really tight-knit circle, and then all the people who get it for free are like insiders. That's kind of how I think of that right now.
Yeah, I don't totally get it. I get the idea of it, I guess, but it kind of just sounds like digital landlords, or I don't know, like oh, why do we want to make a system where there's like 2,000 people who completely control the entire economy for whatever game it is you're making? Like, why would you want that? I don't really understand. But I don't know.
Arguably, all that's doing is just pressing fast forward on what happens in any of these games anyway. But, sorry, what were you saying?
I said I need to talk to Paradigm and have them give me their
some other
investment thesis.
investor from who invested in it gave me their like free to earn, like we'll recreate how games are made thesis. And I was like, I don't know. I don't play video games, so I don't really fucking understand.
So I feel like the founder was very successful in that like mobile game market where you're able to really capitalize on whales who want to blow money to be in the mix of whatever the fuck game it is. And like, I do see them spending stupid amounts of money on this shit, but like, I don't feel like that really enables the average player in any other way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My kind of feeling is like probably they were just really excited to invest and bet on the founders and like, sure, try this free to earn thing.
I mean, it was a lot of
doesn't
money
work-
to just take as a random bet.
Yeah. I mean, it was a
Just a
fuck ton of
couple.
money.
A couple $100 million.
Yeah.
It's just a random
Just
bet.
between friends.
Yeah.
SoftBank,
What's a few
are they
$100
on
million
there?
between friends?
Also, by the way, if anyone from fucking Red Bull is listening to this, sponsor me, bitch. I'm drinking 2 fucking Red Bulls on this thing. I'm like constantly drinking Red Bulls at conferences.
We have Red Bulls on every podcast
Yeah.
episode, so
We are totally open to sponsorships. We will pump your bags.
also like while on the topic of Red Bull, Liquid Death, if you're out there, would love to maybe
Do
get
you
some
like
of that
Liquid
feature.
Death?
I mean, I like it enough that I know that they would sponsor this and like we could drink Liquid Death. I only like the still. Like I don't drink the sparkling flavored shit, but like the still water,
I'll drink the sparkling. They can give me the sparkling. You can have the still.
boom.
You know what I tried the other day for the first time that Leighton from Pool Together, who's also someone we should totally get on this podcast at some point, had me try was non-alcoholic beer.
Athletic.
Yeah.
What?
And I was
What's the
Athletic
point?
Brewing Company.
so I was actually pretty surprised. I've tried a couple non-alcoholic beers by accident before where like
By accident.
No, like
It's like
literally
decaf coffee.
like
Who
one
the
time-
fuck is drinking
one
this?
time I was like tired and I like went to like my corner store and bought a 6-pack and got home and it was all alcohol free beer and I was just like, holy fuck, my night's ruined.
That's like buying CBD weed.
Yeah, it wasn't good. But I want to start trying to drink less just because I really need to lose some weight and be healthier. And we're currently crashing with Leighton. And so we like had dinner together. Go try this. I'm also trying to drink less. And what I was surprised by was it legitimately tasted like a good IPA that actually tastes good. Didn't taste like a Bud Light, and it had no alcohol in it. I was pretty surprised by how much I liked it.
See, I've never had any alcohol that I'm like, oh, this tastes good. It's all functional for me.
Yeah.
I'm the opposite with weed. I'm a weed
Mm-hmm.
snob, but when it comes to alcohol, I like, give me the Bud Light, give me the Natty.
Oof.
What?
Sorry, that's like memories of high school.
We go
like that's what I'm thinking. When
like we're in this like super expensive like 9-figure insured wine cellar spending like ETHs on wine, and I'm just like, this tastes like no better than like some barefoot Merlot that I could have bought.
You should definitely have said that and like recorded that and put it on the internet. Like,
Yeah, fuck it. Like, I'm an idiot. I'll say it right now. It's recorded. It's on the
there you go. There you go.
I have no class when it comes to alcohol. So like when Andy's like, oh, I would a good tasting IPA, like that doesn't exist in my world. There is no good tasting IPA. It's like, why are you not just drinking water or like something else? I don't know.
Yeah, I love.
Is it the habit of drinking like the beer? Like I like to smoke just because I like to blow the smoke out of my mouth. Like not necessarily because I want to be high. Is that like similar with the beer where you just like want to taste the hoppy, weedy, whatever? Or...
I don't think so. I think it's more like wanting something to drink that isn't water.
Yeah.
Just for oh, I like drinking something that tastes good.
40% of my body comp's probably Gatorade Zero.
Yeah.
Because like outside of water, all I drink is Gatorade Zero.
Yeah. See, like I basically only drink water.
Gatorade Zero. I didn't even know that existed.
Dude, Gatorade Zero.
I feel like I'm just.
There's zero sugar, a little bit of sodium. It kind of tastes like a salty aftertaste, but not really. It's I could drink it all day.
You do drink it all.
Well, that water. I have a rule where like I can't drink more Gatorade Zero than water. Like that's probably a problem. Maybe 60-40 is a good split.
Yeah, I mainly consume just Red Bull and Diet Coke. And
Sugar-free Red Bull, of course.
Sugar-free Red Bull, yes.
It's the patrician's
Red Bull
choice.
Zero sucks. I like the.
Yeah, it does.
I don't know why it's so much worse than sugar-free. Like
Sugar-free Red Bull is really good.
Tastes better than regular Red Bull to me. I think I've conditioned myself.
I just can't drink regular Red Bull. I especially if someone ever gives me something that's like a mixed drink that has Red Bull in it, I can always like instantly tell if it's sugared or sugar free. It's like the sugar thing has this like very weird taste. Like,
yeah, I love Red Bull vodkas and tequila Red Bulls. I'm a big fan.
Vodka Red Bull, espresso martini. Those are my two.
I think I'm like a little like you know the way you're like I'm classy about weed. I feel that way about cocktails. I don't. I kind of like.
What's your favorite cocktail?
My favorite cocktail in New York is this thing called the Expat, which is it's like a Boulevardier but with a different like weird French Amaro, which I call China, but all the bartenders in New York are like, no, it's China. I'm like, yeah, go fuck yourself. Yeah, it's like it's sort of like a strong whiskey drink with like some herbal notes and like I don't know cocktails that you can get with it because they just like have so many different flavors layered in them.
When I was in Barcelona, they have like 3 cocktail places that are all in like the top 50 cocktail bars in the world. And we obviously went to all 3 because we had to try them. It was really fun. I would say like, some were better than others, but there was this one place called Paradiso that we went to. And a big part of it was like the presentation was like fucking crazy. And so you like have this one thing come out and like Allie and I got one that was like a drink for 2. And so there were like 2 drinks and they had this like ball and they poured like this like cloud thing on it. And then they picked up the ball and shattered it on the table and you were like eating the pieces of the ball, but they had some really, really good cocktails. Nothing like crazy. But one thing that's interesting is I feel like in Europe, there were a lot more like vodka based cocktails. There's a lot more like whiskey, rum, stuff like that.
I think people just don't like vodka in the 2010s and 2020s. I feel like vodka peaked like in the 2000s and then kind of like has been having this like kind of slow, not death, but just like the market share of vodka seems to be good.
Yeah,
like,
well, it has this like baseline of vodka sodas that like every 20-something girl will drink when they're trying to not gain weight while drinking.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, people are even sell like the canned ones now,
Yeah.
right? Like the pre-mixed, like 80 calorie or 90 cal. Like it, even
Like
that's like
high
it's
noons.
Dude, I fucking love high noons.
High noons are really good.
yeah. I don't know how I feel about the like pre-canned cocktail revolution.
It's not my favorite. I've
never had a fucking Negroni is a simple ass cocktail. It's 3 ingredients, fucking equal parts. Anyone and their relatives could make it.
Yeah, same with margaritas. I've never had like a good like pre-packed like
pre-made ones are such dog shit. I just don't understand. The crazy thing is I feel like I've definitely been to cocktail bars where they're like pre-made cocktail $15, fresh cocktail $14. I'm like, dog, what the fuck are you smoking? Like, why would I pay more for the fucking pre-made? Like, they're like draft cocktail. I'm like, draft means you fucking are just put it in a fucking vat and you're pulling it. Yeah, exactly. I'm like,
I never understood why that was a draw.
Maybe you get an express, like you don't need to wait for them to handcraft it. You can get them to.
It's this type of linguistic thing happens when people they tell you like, oh, we're using like only real authentic cheese, and you're like, so wait. You weren't before, like anytime they have to specify.
You had Kraft American.
It reminds me of when
their
Domino's had their like whole like rebrand back probably, I don't know, like 15, 20 years ago at this point. But when they like had a whole ad campaign for a while that was essentially like, yeah, our pizza used to be shit, but it's not anymore. Now Domino's is really good.
It was around when the mobile app like started. I was in college. Like Domino's was the shit. That was the best $6 pizza. If you picked Little Caesars over Domino's, like that was a clear signal that you're a fucking moron.
Little Caesars, man, I haven't heard that name in a long time.
That was the only other pizza that came to mind that was like $6 or less, because we had 2 like in our town. We had Little Caesars.
No Pizza Hut?
We had Pizza Hut. I don't love Pizza Hut. The sauce always gives me like heartburn for some reason.
How do you like the New York stablecoin pizza? As I
Is that Joe's?
Call it. Or just like the dollars, any of the dollar slices?
I mean, I like Joe's. I got not great experience from a dollar slice plate. So like 2:30 a.m. one night. Like
you are right now, even we're talking about density of things. We talked about the Dick's density, but if we go by the dollar slice density, this is the highest dollar slice density in all.
Yeah,
of
there's
Europe,
a Two Bros like 1 block away. I went there for lunch the other day.
Like it's not that bad of a bear market that I need a dollar slice. Like I can pay $3.50 at Joe's and be happy that like
I just mean Midtown, they're nothing good.
Yeah.
But just go, is there a Sbarro? Just go there.
Yeah,
No,
you could go to
just go
Sbarro. No, there is.
I'm not letting you do that. That's not gonna happen.
99-cent slice or Sbarro. Like I'd probably go with Sbarro.
I mean, yeah, they're all in the same block, so you can definitely get it.
Do you have a favorite pizza place in the city?
So I have a dirty secret, which is I'm allergic to dairy, but I love the one place I think that makes vegan pizza that actually tastes like as close as you can get is a place called Double Zero in East Village.
Okay.
But I mean, I used to eat when I was a kid. I didn't really give a shit. I just get sick all the time, and like so, I have definitely had real pizza, and I feel like I love the like square pan like deep dish shit.
Yeah, like I
Like
really
a
I
true
love
deep dish or
grandma
more like
style.
Yeah, sorry.
Like grandma style or like Chicago deep dish or
Is that Sicilian grandma
Yeah.
style?
Yeah,
That's what I'm thinking.
Sicilian.
That's
I
the one
think
I
there's
like.
like grandma and then there's Sicilian and then there's Chicago.
I think
like
Chicago's
the-
too heavy.
I don't like
I don't
Detroit.
fucking understand how they eat so much of that shit.
Yeah.
No, people must be like, because like I feel like I've been to Chicago, and I feel like people they like hype up that pizza, and then like every time I go there, no one's fucking eating it.
They're not even eating it themselves.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. Okay, well clearly this is just like a marketing material for fucking Applebee's or whoever the fuck sells like the like chain restaurant Chicago pizza, right? There must be
Uno is
Uno,
the-
right,
yeah.
right. That's it. But they're none in New York, actually. I haven't seen any.
I don't think I've ever heard it.
Yeah, there was definitely one like in my hometown, not in my hometown. Growing
Yeah,
up, but,
the
like,
Northeast
around,
has
yeah.
them everywhere. Yeah,
Yeah.
But
It's not good.
it's not. Yeah, it's definitely not. Like I remember eating that as a kid and being like, "This is gross." Also, what do you think? Like the cheese filled crust will ever come back?
I love that.
I certainly hope so.
Because I feel like there was a while where it was like the
Yeah, I mean it's definitely a gimmick.
I mean, that's what put Pizza Hut on the map for me as a kid. And
Yeah.
I would like love the crust and then have a bad time with the sauce.
Yeah, I mean it is like it does kind of make sense to me because the best bite is when you get a good crust bite that also has enough cheese on it, and so you don't like the cheese stuffed crust kind of it solved a problem there. But I don't know.
I mean, if you made a pizzeria, what would be your differentiator? What's sort of the thing?
I don't know.
The vibe inside would be different than a normal pizzeria.
Yeah, Deeze's Pizzeria would also sell weed.
Yeah.
If
It would be like a hot box.
But there already are people doing that, right?
We'll figure out a way to make it unique. Whether it is, I'm not a crazy toppings person. Like I want to differentiate by offering like toppings other people don't.
I mean,
have.
I feel like you should just be making different types of weed oils, right? Like the
Little-
olive
little
oil,
truffle-
weed oil,
little
the
truffle weed oil.
and like your
That'd be good.
entire thing is just like you have different strain to oil pairings, and like you order by that.
I have stuffed crust, but it's just it's actually just the THC component of the pizza is in the crust.
Yeah. It's too bad there's probably not some like direct product you can make from like the flowers or anything.
Maybe I can get it in the
tastes good.
pepperoni. Some THC pepperoni.
Maybe actually that's a good question.
Cure it.
They always say you never want to know how the sausage is made, but unfortunately, I guess in this case you would have to know and figure out how to correctly dose it.
Wonder if we could smoke it, but like hot box it. And then
What are
Yeah,
you-
hot box sausages. That's like
you're eating it. It tastes like a skunk. Like, fuck, what am I doing?
delicious. Yeah, that'd be really good.
I really love the grape terps in my shit. You're just like-
it is actually kind of interesting. One thing I've noticed is that there's still all these restrictions on investing in like cannabis companies and products.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think the tipping point would be that like, I think one of the reasons people who do these like confections with cannabis don't really like just make a like chain of restaurants or like things like that is like the profit margins for being a pizza place are obviously fucking low.
Mhm.
And to go through all the extra hassle you have to do to sell weed products basically erodes that to zero. So the only thing that you can like justifiably charge enough for is like just selling weed directly, or maybe the chocolates, like,
Or it needs to be like a Carbone situation where you have like a high end restaurant that is paired with it, not a pizzeria.
Yeah. That exactly, that makes sense. So the question is like, at what point do you think we'll get to the point that like the average person who's like, yeah, I want to open a restaurant or a coffee shop could actually conceivably make a like cannabis laden place and not have like I get in Colorado they sort of exist, but honestly I don't really intake weed very much at all, really, nowadays. But I remember going to some of these places and being like, I don't know, man. This is not like just like going to a good pizza place or something, right? It's like it's kind of still like a little like has this like seediness.
Yeah. So like the main thing for me is like it needs to be federally legal. Like that right now is the main thing that is stopping, quote unquote innovation in that area. I think the other thing is like a lot of times, at least for me as a stoner snob, it's just way better to smoke my own stuff than go eat good food. Like it's really hard to nail both. You might have a place that makes really good food, but then they don't have like the high end weed to go with it. It's like you need to be an expert. It's like it'd be like if you had a vineyard that produced very high end wine, and then you also had like the cattle doing farm to table all at the same restaurant, and you were just like good at all of it. It's like feels like a lot to be good at to nail it, where it's like easier just be good at one or the other and then marry the two.
Yeah.
But I also don't like edibles that much. Like it goes back to being more into the act of smoking than the love of being high. There's like something there where like smoking is fun itself. So if I'm eating the edible, I'm depriving myself of like the ritual that I really like.
Yeah. But I if we think about it from the market standpoint, like there's definitely a lot of people who would rather be like eating or like having it be like a bar or restaurant experience, and like less of a like hookah feeling experience, or like
like if I just go get garlic knots and they were like THC garlic knots, and I'm just like dipping them in my sauce, I'm watching the football game, I'm at the thing, I could see that.
Yeah, I just feel like the question to me is like, is it something that will happen due to states legislation, or do you really think it's like, okay, everyone's gonna just like wait for federal?
I feel like, and I don't own a weed business, I'm invested in like one weed company called Pine Park, but not super knowledgeable about it, but I feel like there's like a lot of different variations state to state on like the banking part of it. It's like even if you're like a cannabis food company, you're now labeled as like somebody who can't use banks in certain states and shit. And it's like, if it's federally legal, that's kind of, I feel like the switch that they can just kind of flip, where then like the state laws will then follow suit and open up because it's now federally legal.
Yeah. That makes sense. I was just kind of curious because I was like thinking about like, hey, in like 50 years, will like bars look very different because like psilocybin and THC are sort of like mixed in with as things competing with alcohol.
I would be like really pushing to like not do a psilocybin bar.
I don't know. I feel like you could have like a tea house.
Yeah, it would be more of a relaxed vibe and like I feel like more like not a hippie thing, but I wouldn't want like a bar atmosphere, like a bunch of TVs, loud music, sports, like.
Well, that's a sports bar, but
I guess when I think of bar, I'm from Ohio, so like every time I think of bar, I'm like,
every bar's a sports bar.
Every bar's like everyone's here watching the Ohio State football game and drunk out of their mind, and like that's the bar in my head. But I know here that that's not always the vibe.
I just feel like, like cocktail bars, I feel like will eventually move to this like hybrid of like multiple things. Like if like all of the trajectory of this stuff moves in the direction it's moving in. So like, what does that look like? Do those spaces look very different than like, because like, I kind of feel like if we really are like legalizing everything, there's eventually going to be some like cultural shift around like institutions around that, which is like these like restaurants and bars and stuff.
I feel like before that we would see like more entertainment places, like a movie theater or something. Like that to me is like a movie theater where you get high and watch, and it's like all comedy movie. I don't know, like, or like something like that to me feels like it would happen first before.
Okay, quick question. You know how if you go to a movie and there's someone who's like in front of you or whatever, who's like really fucking annoying, do you think that increases or decreases when you give people the
definitely increases?
What drug? Weed?
Yeah.
Depends on the average person. It makes it more annoying. I think like if it's a group of my friends, it actually makes it less annoying because less of us are talking. But like,
I could totally see more people like talking.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But it is kind of interesting. There's just like a lot of movie theaters that I feel like in New York at least serve like cocktails now. And stuff. Have
you been to the Nighthawk? I like that place a lot, and they have like a nice bar. Like my biggest complaint with them is that since they're so like artisanal, they don't just have normal movie theater popcorn.
Yes, they only have these like weird.
Yeah, like the base popcorn has like lime juice on it, and like it tastes good. But when I go to the movies, I want the gross movie theater popcorn.
Butter. Give me 17 pumps of butter.
Fake butter.
Yeah,
it's all fake.
Oil, whatever.
Yeah.
Corn syrup.
Butter flavored product, I think, is the technical term.
And so that's like my biggest issue with Nighthawk is that I can't get real like authentic movie theater popcorn.
I mean, you can at like the AMC.
Yeah, there's
but even the AMCs are trying to like upsell like all this other type of popcorn.
Yeah. All I ever want is like a Diet Coke and popcorn at the movies. I don't need anything else.
Okay, so weed, which comes first, weed movie theater or weed high end cocktail bar?
Probably weed high end cocktail bar.
Yeah, I feel like weed high end cocktail bar. You don't need as big of a population to sustain it. You probably have better margins there.
Yeah, although arguably these like high end movie theaters like Nighthawk are basically cocktail bars, except they can like get you to spend more.
Yeah.
So like it might actually like kind of work.
And they can probably serve more people with less service people.
Yes, exactly. The thing is they'd probably just be like no smoking because indoor. They'd be like you can only consume edibles.
And I'm like, fuck you.
You're not
I'm gonna put a movie theater in my house, and then I'm gonna put a ventilation system where I can smoke and air it out.
Look, I think like the reality is, I think the movie theater is an interesting case because the people are captive for a while, and it's like you can just keep giving them like selling them more edibles.
Yeah,
and it's like the edible part is kind of natural there, right?
Yeah, you eat the edible right when you sit down. By the time it starts, you're high. The popcorn sounds really good.
It is kind of like
edibles take a while to kick in though. This is another problem with it. Like if I eat an edible, it's going to take at least an hour, sometimes 2 to start feeling it. So if I eat that edible, I'm not really feeling it. If I eat it right at the start of the movie, it's kind of a different thing.
I think there's all sorts of tricks to increasing bioavailability, and
I need to do some.
I feel like whoever's if this actually takes off, like this would be a hilarious thing for AMC to do. You know how they made that fucking shitty ape coin, their own ape coin,
Yeah.
as like a stock. I kind of feel like one of them should just like appeal to that demographic with like the first like cannabis movie theater.
Yeah. That would make a lot of sense.
AMC, you owe us some fucking royalties if you do this.
Bored Ape movie theater, and it's just
God, nothing sounds worse to me, but like I totally could see that working, unfortunately.
Yeah.
it's not the movie theater I want, but maybe it's the movie theater that people want.
Yeah. Sometimes you don't get what you want, but you get what
You
society needs.
I feel like, yeah, the mushroom thing is interesting to me because you have the ability to control the setting and the experience. It's like you're almost like the trip sitter as the entity, but then that's also, you're not giving anybody more than a gram. Like that I don't want people eating eighths in a movie theater like that.
Yeah,
not the
for
move.
Sure, for sure.
And we don't need people like going on a 6 to 8 hour
The hard part is like restricting people does become hard because like people just bring their own.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like it's not like they're kind of like going, even if you restrict it as the theater owner, you're not gonna be able to stop them, which
It's like royalties on chain.
Yeah.
I mean, but speaking of that, how do you guys feel about the once upon a time Sudoswap revolution, which seems to have
Long live Sudoswap. Rest in peace, Sudoswap.
yeah, seems to have kind of come back to earth per se.
Yeah, well, so I think it's like two different parts of it, right? And like one is no royalties, and then the other is like this thesis that like NFTs will trade on this almost more like pro market maker style exchange, longer term. And I think on the royalty side, that's actually one of the few things that I go back and forth, like depending on whether or not royalties going to zero are inevitable. And I do think that NFTs in and of themselves are like so much of a social construct that there is like a very real chance that royalties don't ever go away. Because just like if a platform doesn't support royalties, the artists are not going to support that platform. And I don't think that like Sudoswap can keep up with artists like continually being like, fuck Sudoswap, I'm not going to use, like, if you use Sudoswap, I'm not your friend. If you trade my NFTs there, like, that's a pretty challenging thing to get past long term, especially in a world where like so much of it is like relational.
I think for me, there's a separation between like the collectibles and the art. I think like the art itself, there's this really baked in like 10% royalty ethos, like to the point where I've traded NFTs OTC 10, 20 ETH, and then I send the artist 1 or 2 ETH, depending, like whatever it was, 10%. I cut out super rare and said, not paying royalties to you. Well, I'm still gonna make sure the artist gets theirs. And then on the collectible side, I feel like it really depends on if you're in profit or not. For me as a trader, I feel a lot better about paying 5% or whatever to the project I minted and then sold for a 10x than I do on a Moonbird I bought for $100,000 that I sold for $30,000.
Sure.
And you know, that's a real example. And that's one where, you know, I went OTC. It's like, hey, I feel like proof's good.
Yeah.
I'm going to get mine. 2.5% of $30,000 is not negligible amount of money when I can simply use Sudoswap, NFT Trader, whatever. So I feel like there's like two camps. I feel like in the artist camp, it is socially so strong that like the collectors and the artists that quote unquote matter, like will keep that going on the platforms that support it. But I think on the...
But doesn't that like fragment the like overall market so much that like then someone will make an aggregator that aggregates over like the royalty versus royalty free markets and like gives you kind of different pricing? I
mean, Blur, well, it just aggregates X2Y2 looks and OpenSea, but like I saw a lot of stuff on X2Y2. It gives 0 creator royalties, but it's all like collectibles I'm down on. It's not like I'm selling art there.
Well, I think the other thing that's crazy to me about the royalty thing is like in reality, royalties often decay. They don't like have a fixed rate forever. Yeah. And like I somehow just imagine the long state equilibrium is like yeah, there's royalties, but like on the 500th transaction, you're not still paying 2.5%. You're paying like 20 pips or 2 pips.
Like when you say on like, it's not more of a time thing, but on a transactional count thing? Like
transaction count. Yeah, exactly.
If I minted this Bored Ape and it's been traded 500 times at this point, it's like, do they really need another 5% on the 500 first trade? But like, if it's my first trade,
I think it should be such that like it's a transaction tax that like does decay the more traded the thing is, because the more traded the thing is, the more distant it is from like the original creator at all, right? Like,
and like the more traded it is, the more royalties it would have already generated for that
exactly
creator.
Yeah, there's sort of I just kind of imagine it's going to have some cap, because like even in the normal art market, even when there is this type of royalty, it definitely stops after some point. And like I kind of just don't think people like the perpetual royalty thing is a little bit weird, because like think about it this way: in a 2.5% royalty, you just need 40 trades for it to already have earned double for the initial artist, right?
40 trades at the same value that the original sale is at.
Yeah. Or at least
at least.
And it's just like sort of this weird thing to me of like, so now you're sort of like putting some implied maximum cap on the realized price, like the true price at 0% versus the true price at 25 bips versus the true price of 1% or 2%. Like, I bet you that the maximum price changes very like non-linearly in this fee when the fee is constant like that, versus like if the fee adjusted to the price action, like imagine that like, oh, it went down. So in your case, right, like you went from this $100,000 thing to $30,000 thing. Maybe when it went down to $30,000, you just pay 1 basis point. And then, there's sort of some, because we're on a fucking blockchain. We know the amount you sold it for. Mm-hmm. So like you could actually make the fee depend on the transaction behavior, which again gets this idea that like, I just don't, the fixed constant fee thing doesn't quite like make sense to me. But like, I don't know. I don't trade NFTs enough to know.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely something as a higher volume NFT trader that like you really have to account for, like, especially you're looking at like an art block, like something like a Fidenza, you're like, all right, I need to cover like just 10% just to break even. Like this, if I buy this for 100 and I sell it for less than 110, I'm losing money.
Well, I think the other thing to remember, and this is not legal or financial advice, but is that if the royalty is too high, I'm going to make something that is not a security, but a derivative-like asset based on the real thing that you trade, and then you get rid of the royalty fee.
You just wrap it.
You wrap it, exactly. Yeah. Like, it doesn't really... It just seems like there's just some... Clearly some threshold at which people aren't going to pay it, or like because it causes the market to slow down so much that like there's just no transaction volume. Like, Fidenza is a great example of that.
Shout out to the guy who just swept like 6 of them or some shit. I thought it this morning.
Yeah.
And there's just like something I feel like is like kind of missing in this market structure there, that like these fees should somehow adjust with the prices.
Yeah, I almost feel like there could be something that like I feel like this is something where I'd love to see these collections like experiment more with having their own marketplaces that had like more thoughtful kind of logic baked into them around like how they trade, as opposed to just like all going through Seaport or whatever, where like you could have something that was, based on volume. Like when your project's volume is fucking insane, then maybe you take a higher fee, and when it's really low, you kind of adjust based on that. And so you can kind of, have some target volume based on the floor price or whatever, and like have the fees adjust to that and different things like that.
Yeah, I just feel like that's kind of seems like the natural evolution of this. I don't feel like the pro trader trading in an order book thing seems totally to make sense to me, because the only things you could kind of get into this like AMM/order book model are things that are like remnant supply. There's like so many of them that you're indifferent.
Floors.
You're indifferent to that.
Yeah.
Right.
But they're bottom 20% of punks. You don't really give a shit.
Right. And so like somehow that doesn't seem to be like the end state of this system. And so I think it's better to instead use like the dynamic royalties or fees to like change the volume of traded versus like kind of making something.
Kind of reminds me
interesting.
too of like the utilization ratio on like Aave or something. Like as there's more demand to borrow something, the rate to borrow it goes up higher. It's like as there's more demand to transact a collection, like the royalty rate goes up or something.
Yeah, exactly. There should be some type of system like that. I just am surprised it hasn't happened, but I think it's probably because the only NFT person who also was in DeFi is you. Everyone else seems to be like kind of.
Yeah.
I feel like not kind of thinking that way.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's funny. I really feel like one of the best mechanisms for this was actually just like what Larva Labs did, where they just held 10% of the punk supply too. It's like a very different version of the same thing of saying no royalties, no trading fees, but we have 10%. And so, I think it like, it creates a much better incentive structure than the royalties, where like with Azuki, when they announced, they basically had to say that their founder was involved in some, not rugs, but not so great projects previously. Like the floor dropped out, but they had millions of dollars in volume because everyone was dumping, and the project made millions of dollars on the day where they were announcing.
Yeah, price went from 20 ETH to like 6 ETH.
Yeah, and they made millions of dollars. And so like that's like really fucked up.
The other thing is like royalties shouldn't be both sided in some sense. Like there's a sense in which like only one side should be paying. Like, if like the price, that's what I'm saying. There should be some like kind of floor where you only are getting royalties if it's like the next highest price or something, right? So like say you get in a 10 ETH, sell it, has a couple transactions, goes down to 6, goes back up to 12. Okay, on the transaction to 12, you get royalties, right? Like you can make these path dependent things that you can't do in normal art markets, you can't do in normal finance very easily, but you can on a blockchain because you actually program that. So yeah, I'm hoping that the bear market means people experiment with this shit instead of just like mint 5,000 stupid pictures and hope and pray.
Yeah.
No,
yeah, me too.
I want to see that. I feel like a collection that makes their own marketplace does something like that. Like it would definitely get interest from at least like traders.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes maybe that isn't who you want to have all the attention, but like,
yeah,
you would definitely get some attention from that group.
Yeah, I mean, like you could even make it wouldn't have to be like on a collection basis. You could even make a marketplace that just did this natively, where it was like, we're going to keep a history, like you were saying, of all the native trades for these different tokens. And like, we will only enforce royalties when X, Y, and Z conditions are met.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I don't think it'd be that hard.
I think it's not that hard to implement as much as it's hard to like get the UX right for the artists, because like they probably won't understand these conditions, and like they have to set them at mint time. Right.
I think that's been the biggest thing that's inhibited a lot of like really experimental growth in the NFT space, is just that the current like common user is just not as like crypto savvy, or just like savvy with how like mechanisms work. And so it's like the stuff that gets a lot of usage is press the mint button, press the buy button, press the sell button.
Right.
And anything else that requires you to like really use your brain to think about stuff just is like pulling teeth to explain to people.
Yeah. But you guys could do something in this vein, right?
Yeah.
I imagine.
It's definitely something that we could do. It's like, there's definitely challenges there too. And something we've thought about as well with like, okay, for these like pieces of an NFT that trade on secondary, when you have 1/1000th of a Bored Ape, do you pay royalties to Yuga Labs when the 1/1000th of a Bored Ape trades? I don't really fucking know. I'm like,
well, you don't by default, right?
Yeah, by default, no. But something we've like thought about, and like generally where we tend to fall is, especially for like one of one art, it would be nice if we could, because it's like kind of a different market than, a digital collectible like a Bored Ape. But definitely no like finite answer there.
It's also a lot easier when like you only have one creator of the vault. When you have multiple creators of a vault, like if I have one X copy 101, a killer acid 101, and like a photography 101 in a vault, it's like, how is that royalty calculated? Because like the X copy 101 is going to be 80-90% of the value of the entire vault, and then like it's a whole fucking thing. Right now we have this like social ethos where if you fractionalize art, we kind of like say like, hey, keep 5-10% or send it to the artist or something. Like for the art block set we put up, we kept 5% of the supply, and if there's a buyout, we'll take that 5%, cash out, and send it to the artist based on the floor value of each piece when we created the vault. Like, I have a spreadsheet, but it's like, it's a hard thing to do consistently and apply it.
Yeah. That does seem kind of annoying.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it would be a lot easier if we found a way to support artists long term that wasn't royalties. And I think we'll figure something out, but it's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, I mean, I just think that like the key thing about crypto is you could program these rules.
Yeah.
And the real question is like which rules are amenable to both sides. And like I feel like the most fair rule is like this like velocity dependent rule, like based on like how much volume or how frequently the thing is trading, like you should get more because you're creating more value in theory for like all the different holders and that.
Yeah.
But like if it doesn't trade very much, you're like not really creating much value, and like so you're kind of. But you know, of course, telling an artist that, I feel like
there's
like,
also times where like
fuck
something
you.
might not trade much, but you might also create values. Like the floor might go up significantly, even though there's a low volume traded. So it's also like a weird one where like there might not be a high velocity in the trading, but like I would still be fine taking that.
Yeah, we've been working with some NFT exchanges, and one thing that's interesting, I was thinking about NFTs versus incentivizing NFTs versus incentivizing like DEXs and AMMs, is you have this kind of like lemon problem where like for like everything on the floor, you have to spend incentives on incentivizing buy side demand, right? Because like no one wants to buy them. Everything that's like super rare one of one, you actually have to incentivize on the sell side because like people don't really want to sell. But then you have the muddled middle where like, this is a bad example, but sorry, I don't really have a better one because I'm a nouveau. I don't know much about NFTs. But like Paris Hilton buys fucking ape, and all of a sudden like the traits associated to it suddenly went from being like not valuable to like more valuable. So you actually can turn off your incentivization for it.
Mm-hmm.
But then let's say she gets canceled and all of a sudden those traits push everything back to the floor. Now you have to flip back to sell side. So there's this fact that you have this like kind of dynamic, like you need to incentivize kind of like both sides, but like in a weird oscillating way that depends on like how certain traits are mapped. Somehow no one has actually figured out how to do that. And I feel like that to me is like sort of one of these, the core market structure things missing here.
Yeah, that's interesting.
We need to incentivize hoodie punt sellers.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a hard question. Like,
because in fungible stuff, you don't have to separate buy and sell side this much. You kind of just can incentivize both sides roughly the same. Which is sort of like an interesting thing about them because it's fungible, and as long as there's at least another market somewhere, you can always arb between them, and so then you end up going back and forth enough that it doesn't matter. But NFTs, it's not true because there's like very strict particular purchases that cause the entire collection to move up or down, kind of like you were talking about with like the value created from the floor move. That you do need to be much more careful about, like whether, because like if you incentivize the wrong side, then like you're basically giving away money for no reason, right?
Yeah. What about like instead of using like a royalty or like a VIG on trading, you instead had like almost a bit more of like a nounish style system where artists just slowly diluted everyone else by getting more of the NFT. It doesn't necessarily work for like a 10K PFP project because like it could eventually be 11K PFP, and maybe that's fine. It depends on the project. But like if you had like, let's say a generative art collection and you have like, you mint out 1,000, but then like as the artist, you say that there's no royalties, but every, 50 days, another one is minted to my wallet and I will sell those, do with them as I please. But like, so then instead of having a constant extraction on trades, you're just like kind of basically saying long term, I will continuously be aligned with this because I am continuously minted more over time.
I mean, I guess that's a little bit like the sort of staking model.
Kind of, yeah.
Right. Like, but with like these discrete jumps. Yeah, I mean, I guess this gets back to the fact that like do artists understand dilution?
Yeah, probably not.
Like I
Well,
feel like
I mean,
that's
there
like kind
definitely are some that do. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
clear.
they understand like the scarcity part of
the
it.
big artists understand it. Like
Yeah.
the successful artists
Don't worry, Jeff Koons was a commodities trader before he was Jeff Koons
had to
so,
make
so there are definitely some who do.
had to make the money to build the studio.
Yeah. So I don't know. I've been thinking a lot about this. Also, like NFT people, for some reason, like the entire market seems to be built off the fact that like people have no privacy, but then like people get angry because they're like, oh, like you did this thing and I see it on chain.
Mm-hmm.
So like, where do you see the future of like ZK type of things, or like privacy, at least some form of privacy preservation, meeting with NFTs?
That one's hard for me because like, yeah, you know, poor Farouk gets canceled like once a week.
Who's that?
He's a influencer guy on Twitter who
Sorry.
he has many times been canceled for, or you know, people get really mad at him on Twitter because he'll be like, you know, he'll tweet about a project one day and then the next day like sell
Dumps all
stuff
of
from the
them, yeah.
project.
Oh, okay. I think I know. FAROKH.
Yeah.
Got it.
And so like, but at the same time, I feel like so much of people's interactions with NFTs right now, like if your wallet is linked to who you are personally, then you are probably like pretty actively wanting that link between yourself and the NFTs that you buy. And if you don't want that, you just use another wallet. And so I think the one thing it could be helpful for is like, if I was very, very bullish on a project and I wanted to accumulate a large amount, it's like kind of a pain in the ass to buy like 2 per wallet in like 50 different wallets.
Mm-hmm.
But if you could instead just do that all inside of one without having to do anything. But I feel like it's such a social thing right now, at least with the current set of things people are buying and selling, that I'm not convinced that people would actually want ZK stuff.
I mean, they might not think they want it, but I think if they had the option and they got kind of used to other people using it, they'd understand it. Like for me, a lot of the stuff that I want public, I guess, is like you find my punk and then you're like, all right, wallet, because you can go to the punk website, find it, and then everything's there. So it's like everything I want to be public is in that wallet essentially. And then if I want to do a new wallet, it's like I gotta, you know, maybe not use Tornado Cash, but not just send funds from These.eth to a new wallet, but I need to obfuscate that transfer of funds and then have a whole separate persona.
Right. I mean, I guess the obvious places are like obviously the auctions, but where
auctions
would
would be
make
nice.
sense.
Auctions are rough because like that's the one where you do depends on the auction. Sometimes you just want to signal
that you're interested, so that other people come.
you might not want to win it.
The artist,
like I do
the
this.
artist basically paid you to basically make a bid, so that other people are like, oh, that person's bidding, I'm gonna join.
I mean, yeah, there's definitely been times I bid on pieces, never paid, but like I bid on pieces to show social support, and like if I wanted, I'd been cool, but like I figured I was gonna get outbid, and I was fine with that.
Yeah.
And then there's other times where there's pieces I really want, and I'm doing the obfuscation through an Anon wallet, and I'm not even mentioning it on Twitter until the auction's done. Kind of like the B20 Metacoven buying all those fucking Beeples with like all those different names and then accumulating them into one thing.
Right. Yeah, I guess the real question is like for these kind of like Sudoswap type of things, though, I think you also want some form of privacy, because I feel like in those systems, like it's very clear that like people are just like waiting for the fish, and there's just like a bed of sharks, just like, and at some point, like that's great, but like if eventually people are like, shit, I just keep losing money using this thing, so I'm not gonna use it, right? Like it's like a bad casino. A bad casino is one where like the players win 30% of the time because like 30% means that like enough of them are just like, fuck this shit, it's rigged, I'm gonna leave, right? So like, but a good casino is like you're like 47%. And like, so I kind of just feel like somehow that seems to not be existing in that NFT market.
Yeah. What do you think about marketplace fees in general? Like OpenSea's at 2.5%, Sudo and X2Y2 are 0.5%, LooksRare's 2%.
Like again, I just like don't really like the constant fees here. I kind of feel like, okay, look, if your marketplace provides this much value to this collection, meaning like the owners of that collection and the people who minted it and the producers, whatever, then you should be able to charge more. But if you're not really providing some clear value, then like the fee should be less. And somehow like right now we're just kind of like 0.5 sounds like a round number.
Yeah.
Like, but like
420, 69
but
sounds
like,
lower than 0.5.
Yeah, exactly. But I kind of think the aggregators at some point will be the ones driving this, right?
Yeah.
They should be basically like quoting at different fees. So like at some point, if you can do something where I'm like, I'm willing to like short this particular NFT on OpenSea, I want to go long this thing on this other place, and it's almost like being a market maker, but you're quoting and the spread you're quoting is like effectively some net fee difference. I think in a world like that, then like you do make this kind of like more, you know, the fees will kind of should be able to adjust to things a little more.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like it kind of feels like marketplaces are going to have to find another way to monetize at some point.
I mean, yeah, I think it is a race to zero, but I think the real question is like, is the aggregator a particularly good value capture mechanism?
Probably not.
Yeah, it's not unless the aggregator is in an interface that is like the dominant interface.
Yeah.
Like in the sense that you own the user and the aggregator.
Yeah. And I would imagine for most of the aggregators, like long term, their play is to like either find a niche of people who really value the added things that they are giving to them, or to eventually like build their own marketplace and like try to get all the users and then say, hey, why don't you list on our marketplace instead?
Well, I just like the idea also of like ephemeral marketplaces. Like a collection could launch its own marketplace and then shut it down, and then like you basically have like the primary marketplace, which is like the one that the creator makes, and then like after that it like distributes to like all the different other ones.
Yeah,
because that sort of seems like more a little bit like an IPO where it's like, hey, we have a special thing for like the initial thing, and like the people who made this thing get like higher upside in it, but then after that it's like up to the market.
Yeah, that's an interesting idea.
Because you were talking about like, creators owning their own marketplace. I kind of feel like they're that type of thing. The best trade off is like they own it in the beginning, but then after that, it's like.
I mean, I don't want to say we've seen exactly that, but like something like Drift's first day out, where it's like through Manifold, through his own website, then all the secondary market happens on OpenSea. But it's like to get it originally, you got it distributed from him on his site without the OpenSea fee. And I think we have seen a little more of that. I mean, even our NFT.
Yeah. I think my kind of like longer term thesis is that we'll eventually see like a few different underlying tech for marketplaces that exist, and then like really tightly vertical marketplaces for things. Like, have you seen ENS? I think it's ENS Vision.
Yeah.
And like, I think that's like a really great example of just like a vertical marketplace aggregator that everyone who is seriously trading ENS is going there because they're providing extra info that you otherwise cannot get from a generalized marketplace. And then you'll see the aggregators that aggregate everything and give you like the bare minimum experience with maybe some particular niche or something.
I mean, it does have this feeling a little more so even than DeFi of like the online ads market circa 2010, because like the online ads market was actually kind of interesting. So like at that time, basically what would be the equivalent of the floor NFTs, the remnant supply. So ads like at the bottom of a page or like a tiny like sidebar ad. No one wanted to buy them, and people basically made these marketplaces that were like the Sudoswap of that, like aggregated a bunch and sold you like 20 shit ads, and people were like, okay, I'm willing to buy 20 if it's like cheap enough versus like buying, right? And then people started to be like, okay, actually we could make a separate market for like each type of user. So like, you know, then we kind of got to like the Google version of this, which is like you're bidding on keywords. So like you're looking up insurance, and like everyone who's an insurer bids an auction on insurance. And then if it, you know, based on how that clears, then they sell to the users who are bidding insurance or searching for insurance. Because some keywords like insurance, it's like, no one's fucking looking up insurance for fun. They're usually looking up because they're like intent to buy. Like, oh, I need to buy it right now, right? Versus like water tower. I don't know. I'm just like looking at this thing.
Yeah.
Like that's not a very highly demanded keyword. Then you got to the Facebook version of the ad marketplace, which is like decision trees. So it's like male, Midtown, high dick density, like Redbull, whatever. and you're bidding on that. But the thing is, that's not very fungible, right? Because like the market for female of the same characteristics actually might be completely separate. And so the auctions, they're sort of aggregated stuff. And the only way those auctions work is because Google and Facebook don't let you bid on your own. They give you some like tools, but then they're like, no, we're going to create the auction strategy. And so they MEV the shit out of you. And that's all of their profit. Nice. which is basically what it is, right? It's just they run the auction and they control your strategies. So it's like, all right, well, it is the casino where it's a 30% win rate. So I kind of think NFTs seem to have a little bit of this thing where like initially the structure of like algorithmic trading for it is like all the remnant shit supply, and then eventually people find ways to like make people bid on like attributes of NFTs across collections or within collections, and whatever mechanism that is more powerful as a marketplace and gives you things like these like verticalized specific things like stuff like that,
like a hoodie punk.
Yeah, no, hoodie punks only. Hoodie punk marketplace actually is interesting. That's one place you may want a ZK thing, because the hoodie punk owners may not want to reveal that they're selling until after it's sold. Right?
Like I could never signal that I like listed my punk.
Yeah,
right. There's like,
I would have to find a buyer. OTC.
It's like when 4156 was dumping his ape on Twitter.
Yeah, or like when he sold the Matt Fury pieces and all the pay, like that type of stuff. It's just
that's sort of what that's what I mean. I kind of think the marketplace, like in Google's case, right? It's like it's driving a value that's different than the product to like the buyer, which is the search results, right? So the question is like, what value can you drive outside of just like the NFT to the buyer in this case, and then orchestrate the sellers to sell to that buyer because they're like there's some like sort of excess good there, and then like I'm not saying it's going to be exactly the same, but I kind of feel like everyone who's searching for like utility for NFTs is basically searching for this type of thing. I just don't think it's going to be search or something like that. It's going to be something more like some weird form of content that like people want to control. And then like I'm pretty bearish on metaverse land myself.
I'm very bearish on metaverse land.
Yeah,
as somebody in a metaverse DAO. I mean, we've had this talk internally a lot. Like we don't even really have that much land, just because like don't think that's where the value will accrue.
Yeah, I mean, it is interesting. Like, you know, lots of people are like, we're going to build a blockchain search engine right now, right? But like, it's whatever the fuck that thing is the thing I think that will cause the like NFT marketplace to change, and I don't know what that is.
Like blockchain search engine. Like I go to blockchain search engine and I type in like, I don't know, pizza.
hoodie punks, and then it shows you like where all the hoodie punk people are, which chains they go to, like, so like there's going to be something like that, but it's not, it's like it's a weird hybrid of like a social network and the search engine in some ways, right? Because it's like showing you this like graph of people's behavior, but it's also like letting you filter it.
Like right now all we have is Nansen, really, and that's not, it's okay, it works good, but like it doesn't give you that
kind of.
Yeah, Dune requires, I feel like, a lot more like.
But Dune is really for like investors and like business people.
So when I think of Dune, I think of nerds.
Yeah,
like nerds are doing this shit. Like nerds make the dashboard so that idiots like me can read the dashboard. I can't write a dashboard in Dune, but like I can go to Nansen and use their tools and like get valuable information. Whereas like if someone didn't make the Dune dashboard I need, I'm useless. I'm just like, fuck this.
Yeah, and I think that's sort of the game of like, what is that thing going to look like? And like, I feel like there's a lot of like boomer Web 2 people who have raised too much money who for doing this type of search engine. I
think I might know a couple of those companies.
And they're like literally just trying to like copy and paste like terms from, you know, old school internet stuff. And so like, I just like am very nebulous on that. I think all these big funds have too much fucking money that they have to spend.
That's what I feel like
and
too.
So they're just throwing it at anything. And so like we've seen some real stupid blockchain search engines funded. Like one in particular was very egregious recently. But there is some truth to it. Like whatever, like I get back to this thing of like whatever the fuck causes this, like the buyers to have to like sort of bid and the sellers to get some value that's external to the financial instrument. Because like, look, ad impressions are fucking securities. Like, if you want to call any of this shit securities, ad impression of securities, you should go after fucking Facebook and Google for running their own exchange and being their own market maker. That's fucking illegal in every other fucking part of like society in the US. But I guess I just kind of mean like there's some like excess value outside the NFT that's to come. Everyone's like, it's going to be a game, but I'm like, I just don't fucking believe people care that much.
Yeah,
it's got to be something like totally different. And I don't know whether it's like a content thing of like, hey, it's like a new social network type of thing, but like there has to be some excess value. And I'm still grasping at straws to figure it out. Sorry, this is just me ranting.
No, I like it.
no, it's super interesting.
Like I think that's the only way we're gonna get this whole space to grow is like figuring out what that thing is. And like that thing, it's just like I just don't feel like that many people love games.
See, I come from the gaming world. Like, I was the person who maximized the amount of time I could spend in a virtual world escaping from reality and grinding it. Like, there are a ton of people who like that shit. But the issue right now, from what I've seen, is just like they don't give a fuck about NFTs. There's no good games. Like, every game that involves NFTs is ass. Yeah. I just haven't seen one that even gives me a modicum of like, oh, I'm excited for this. I think, to me, the way it looks is more like a CSGO, but with the items on chain. Yeah. Something where you actually have ownership of the shit that you paid a lot of money for in the game. Yeah. And then it's like a byproduct of those people realizing, oh, I have ownership of this shit. I can like quit the game and take this outside and not like still get value from it.
But the real problem though is like, what does it mean to take it outside? Yes, I can take it outside and resell it, but I can't like use it in another game. Like the game doesn't like allow the reuse of these things. I think is like why I think games are like not quite the right modality. Like in the same way that like you get to reuse information that you get from Google. Like you search something, you learn something, and now you can like reuse that the next time you make a query. There's something about that that's better suited to these types of like digital assets. I hate saying that fucking phrase, but I don't know what else to say in this case.
I've been saying digital things, digital shit.
The reason I say digital assets, I'm including ad impressions plus NFTs because I actually bucket them very similarly. They're like, you could think of these ad auctions, ad impressions as like, there's a bunch of traits. Like I said, like male, drinks Red Bull, lives in high dick density areas, whatever, right? That's just like the fucking set of traits. And like you have this decision tree that chooses like which auction you enter for that. And so I just like somehow think it's going to be something where you can fucking use the thing when you transfer it. Like in the same way you can like reuse knowledge that you like learn from a social network and like that has to get imprinted into the NFTs. Like each time you use it, like you like change it subtly in some way so that the next time it like you get something extra from it. And like games do that within a single game. They don't do that between. You can
build up your character with a whole bunch of shit, but then once your character's maxed out, you can't take your WoW character and put it in a RuneScape or something.
Exactly. Somehow that last part is whatever the fuck this thing looks like.
Is that like kind of the dream with loot? It didn't really happen. VCs found it before anyone who wanted to build anything found it.
Yeah, Multicoin's building it. Just give them a few more years.
I think the thing is like it needs to be something that does that before the NFT. Like they like found some weird thing that like, and like, or it has to be something where you can like sort of backdoor existing social networks into forcing you to allow yourself to transfer these things, and they can't remove it because they like lose money because that's happening. Like if there is such a thing that like can like backdoor or aggregate over these existing social networks that the aggregator lets you transfer things, that would actually probably be like whatever have some sort of form of power like this that's like probably easier than a game, because game is like for the set universe of all NFTs now every game has to be able to have every representation of that like fucking shield you have, and like that's a lot lot of work.
That's just reality. Like you're playing that game every day. It's called life.
Exactly,
you don't need that in another game.
Yeah. So I think it'll be something that's like it like attacks social networks in like a weird aggregative way that like you can like move your identity between them, and like they can't they can't block you from doing this because like they lose money doing it. Okay, that's the end of my soapbox.
That's a good place for us to start to wrap up. because we're getting close to time and we have
Yeah.
there's people coming in after us to record a
Yes.
podcast. So,
Sounds good.
but so we have one question that we ask everyone before we let them go, which is if you were to have a autobiography written about yourself, what would you want to title it?
I feel like I've asked people this question, and I've never fucking thought of it.
You've actually asked this question.
Yeah.
Where did you get this question from?
I think so I used to run these meetups where we'd have like speakers who'd come and give talks like every other week, and it would always be like someone who's like not the famous person, but they work for the famous person. So like the sous chef at a fancy restaurant, like postdoc in the lab, like not the head architect who's like going on TV and being like, oh, look at how good my like building I made is, but like the person working. And like we'd basically ask the speakers come up with icebreakers, and like one of them made
Nice.
so that was kind of but I think so one of my favorite memories is I remember I was in India, and like it was at night, and like I was wearing, you know, my usual colorful shit, and like this like homeless guy just follows me for 2 blocks. He's like, are you fucking colorblind? And I kind of just like that.
Are you fucking colorblind?
I think that's a really
I
good
mean,
one. Yeah.
I think that might be my favorite one we've got yet.
Yeah, that was really good.
Because I was like, I mean, it was also like funny. The homeless guy's like harassing you. Like, what the fuck? Like, I gave him like a few bucks because I was like,
Like,
you
that's
know?
funny. Yeah, I love that. Every once in a while, yeah, sometimes someone can just be really funny, and it's like, oh yeah, I wasn't going to give you money for this, but
But you know, here we are.
yeah, it was like literally right now. There's some guy in my DMs who claimed the Twitter handle Tessera bot, and so we had like fractional bot that we used for stuff, and so we just claimed like Tessera bot _ It doesn't matter. And he's trying to get me to buy Tessera bot from him for like 1 ETH, and I was like, I'm not going to do that. But now he every day sends me a new meme that he makes about how Tesserabot is a better Twitter handle than Tesserabot _ and it's getting to the point where like the memes are pretty good, and like kind of like I laughed when I saw it today.
All right.
And I was like, I think I might have to buy this from him now just because he's like kind of funny. I don't know. Like I respect the hustle.
You guys also need to make a product or like something named Escher. I feel like it's just
Escher?
because like
Escher's stairs.
yeah,
Like his
exactly.
hands- His hands drawing the stairs.
Inventor of tessellations, which is like the same Latin prefix for you.
Oh, okay. I didn't know about that, but now I'll do a little research. We have a couple things that are cooking up, so maybe we can.
If you need names, I would
all
definitely go like you want the math name for something like something related to Escher, ESCHER.
All right, good to know.
Don't get front run.
When we need to start doing naming deep dives, we're gonna hop on calls and turn it into
Yeah,
like,
we'll hit you up.
I don't think you want my nerd names for things, but Escher's an easy one because
Yeah.
people know the staircase.
yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah. So I guess before we let you go, do you have anything you want to tell the people about, or anything?
Not really.
No. All right.
Okay.
Sweet. Well, yeah. Thank you so much for coming on. This was a lot of fun.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely.
thank you,
Thanks for Red Bull. Remember, I drank 2 fucking Red Bulls on this fucking show. Like,
Yeah, they need to
please
sponsor us.
sponsor.
We've drank at least 10
Yeah.
cumulatively over the last few episodes. And also for the people listening, if anybody wants to give us their own dick density maps of
Yeah.
New York, please.
You have to use crypto dick butts, and like you have to like make a key of like which ones are high density and low, and
Yeah.
then like take a map in New York and drop it. And we will send you like a signed something.
Yeah, we'll figure
sign
something out.
We'll figure something out. The best dick density meme will get something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, man.
See ya.
See ya.